One afternoon, a teenage boy suddenly appeared in the streets of a German city. He could barely walk. He could barely speak. In one hand, he held a strange letter. People stopped and stared. No one recognized him. His clothes were worn. His face looked frightened. When someone asked his name, he whispered only 2 words: Kaspar Hauser. Then came the question everyone expected. Where did you come from? The boy didn't answer. Instead, he repeated the same sentence again and again, as if he had learned only those few words. Within hours, the entire city was talking about him. Some believed he was lost. Others thought he had escaped from somewhere. But as investigators began asking questions, they discovered something impossible. Kaspar didn't understand ordinary life. He had never learned the simplest things every child already knew. The deeper they looked, the stranger the mystery became. Because nobody could explain where this boy had been hiding for almost his entire life. The strange letter only made the mystery deeper. It claimed the boy wanted to become a cavalry soldier. But something didn't make sense. Kaspar held the letter, yet he could barely read it. He could barely write his own name. So who had written it? And why was it placed in his hands? The questions didn't stop there. When people offered him food, he refused almost everything. Bread, meat, even cooked meals. Instead, he asked for only one thing: bread and water. As if he'd eaten nothing else his entire life. Doctors examined him. What they discovered shocked everyone. His legs were unusually weak. Walking seemed unfamiliar. It was almost as if he had spent years without ever moving freely. Then investigators asked him another simple question. Where did you live? Kaspar looked at them, but once again, he couldn't answer. Because the place he remembered didn't sound like any home anyone had ever known. Finally, Kaspar began telling his story. At first, almost nobody believed him. His memories sounded impossible. He said he remembered only one place: a small dark room. No windows, no door he could open, no voices, no faces, just silence, day after day, year after year. He couldn't remember seeing the sky. He couldn't remember walking outside. The only person he ever saw never stayed long. A stranger entered quietly, left bread, left water, then disappeared again. The man never explained anything, never answered questions, never even told Kaspar his own name. Investigators couldn't believe what they were hearing. If the story was true, how had the boy survived for so many years? And if it wasn't true, who had taught him such a detailed lie? The deeper they investigated, the more impossible the mystery became. The more Kaspar spoke, the stranger his story became. He said he had never seen another child, never played, never learned to read, never even knew what a city looked like. At first, many people dismissed his story. It sounded impossible. But then, doctors made an unexpected discovery. His eyes reacted painfully to bright sunlight. Loud sounds startled him. Even simple, everyday objects seemed completely unfamiliar. It was as if he had been separated from the outside world for years. The newspapers quickly spread the story. Soon, people traveled from across Germany just to see the mysterious boy. Some called him a miracle. Others called him a fraud. The arguments grew louder every day. But one question refused to disappear. If Kaspar had invented everything, how could he know so little about the world? And if he was telling the truth, who had hidden him and why? As the weeks passed, Kaspar Hauser became famous across Germany. Crowds gathered wherever he went. Everyone wanted to see the mysterious boy. But the more attention he received, the more divided people became. Some believed they were looking at a victim, a boy hidden from the world since childhood. Others laughed at the entire story. They claimed Kaspar was pretending, that someone had trained him, that everything was an elaborate deception. The arguments reached newspapers, doctors, judges, even members of the royal court. Everyone seemed to have a different answer, but no one had real proof. Then, a rumor began spreading through Germany. What if Kaspar wasn't an ordinary boy at all? What if someone had hidden him because of who he really was? That single question changed everything. From that moment, people stopped asking where Kaspar came from. They began asking, who was afraid of him? But fame did not make Kaspar safer. It may have placed him in danger. Kaspar was taken into the home of teacher Georg Daumer. For the first time, he lived in a real home. He learned to read, write, draw, and ride horses. Slowly, he began discovering the world he had never known. But then Kaspar said something disturbing. He believed someone was watching him. At first, people thought it was only fear. Then, on October the 17th, 1829, Kaspar was found inside the house with a deep wound across his forehead. He claimed a masked man had attacked him, and Kaspar said he recognized the attacker's voice. It was the same voice as the stranger who had kept him imprisoned. Suddenly, his story seemed far more dangerous. But investigators found almost no evidence. No one saw the attacker enter. No one saw him escape. Some believed the man from Kaspar's past had found him. Others suspected something darker. What if Kaspar wounded himself? To keep the mystery alive. Then the mystery took a darker turn. A rumor spread through Germany. Kaspar, people whispered, was not an abandoned prisoner. He was a stolen prince. The theory pointed to the royal house of Baden. Years earlier, a baby prince had died. Some believed the child had been replaced and hidden so another branch could inherit power. Suddenly, Kaspar's past seemed to fit a royal conspiracy. His age was close, his appearance fueled the rumors, and his unknown captor now had a motive. Then an English nobleman, Lord Stanhope, entered the story. He promised to uncover Kaspar's identity and searched across Europe. For a moment, Kaspar believed the truth was near, but every lead collapsed. No family recognized him. No document proved his birth. And slowly, even Stanhope began to doubt him. Kaspar was moved to Ansbach, where public attention faded. But the danger did not, because in December 1833, someone sent him a secret message, and Kaspar went alone to meet them. The final meeting ended in blood. On December 14th, 1833, Kaspar returned from the Ansbach Court Garden with a wound in his chest. He said a stranger had promised news about his mother. But when Kaspar arrived, the man stabbed him and vanished. Then investigators found something strange. A small purse lay in the garden. Inside was a note written backward, as if it could only be read in a mirror. It described the attacker but gave no name, and the mystery deepened. There were no footprints. No weapon was found. Some believed enemies from Kaspar's past had finally silenced him. Others noticed the note resembled his own writing. They suspected Kaspar had staged one final attack, but pushed the blade too deep. 3 days later, on December the 17th, Kaspar Hauser died. His grave called him a riddle of his time. Was he a stolen prince murdered to protect a secret, or a liar trapped inside his own invention? Nearly 2 centuries later, no one can prove the truth.